Season number 9. My goodness, what a ride. And this group of soccer-loving addicts is back at it again for some more of that sweet, sweet FC Cincinnati. If you have just found us over the offseason, hello and welcome to Cincinnati Soccer Talk. Our show has been hitting the podcast stream since February 2016. Some may call us the boomers of FCC podcasts, but we like to keep you updated on all things FC Cincinnati. CST actually is a website and 3 podcast shows, and they are all coming back regularly as FC Cincinnati fires back up this February. First up, you have this main show, if you're listening to it live now or on the podcast later. We are the oldest child and the one that gets along with everybody the best. And then you have Jersey Swap, a preview show that brings in guests from whatever town FC Cincinnati's playing at. That's hosted by Jeffrey Tebbets, and that midweek treat is for fans that want to dive into the upcoming match. Then over on its own feed, Talking Tactics with Coach and Justin Hoyt at times, dives into strategy and formations. That one is for the pure soccer strategist among us, or those fans that insist on sitting in the second deck or row 12 to watch the flow of the match. So if that interests you, Talking Tactics is over on its own feed, like I said, and it is fantastic. We are bringing back the photography team, the writing team, the podcast. 2024 is going to be a great year, and now we just need to win CONCACAF and the Club World Cup. Easy, small goals to start the year. Let's bring in the team that keeps it all running tonight. First up, longtime host, been here since the beginning himself, Brian Weigel. Welcome back. Season 9. How are you, buddy?
Season 9, man. Can't believe it. It's get ripping off that Band-Aid, jumping back into this 9-10 month slog of FC Cincinnati soccer, but a lot more to look forward to this year than in previous. So glad to be back at it and talking about how I think this group could be even better than 2023. So very excited.
So when you get this old, when you get this deep, Brian, do we need to change the intro for season number 9, or do you stick with the old classics, some of the regular beats the fans know and love, or do you fire up something new?
You're not putting that one on me, Ricky Bobby.
Maybe I'll play with it, and if we get enough people that are like, stop doing this, then we can just go back. You know, that could be the way we do it. All right, back in the box, I think, this year. Justin, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, man. I'm knee deep in Jamaican Premier League soccer right now, so couldn't say I would ever be in that position. But man, I'm loving it. I'm getting fired up for the season.
Yeah, have you done a little research for our upcoming CONCACAF match?
Big time, man. The center backs on that team are way better than everybody else on the team, so should be a low scoring game for Cavalier.
Oh, interesting. I know nothing, so I might tap you for some knowledge later, because unlike you, I have been kicking my feet up, drinking martinis this offseason, taking it easy. I assume exactly like our final host, one of last year's big additions, Brian Biedenbach, sir. We are happy to have you back.
I'm glad to be back, Boston. I just love one of my favorite things coming on the show is just being surprised by your intros each and every week. Whatever you come up with makes me laugh, and I just enjoy that. But no, you've been on season 9. I've been here. This is the start of season 2, and it feels like we recorded our last episode of season 8 like 2 weeks ago. So it's been a quick turnaround, but here we are.
Yeah. Are you speaking of the episode we had at Norden?
Well, even before that, because I wasn't able to make that one. I certainly watched that one, but you just recording here on StreamYard, last one I was on, I just feel like, man, it was a quick turnaround. You blink and it's gone.
Back then, we thought Santi Arias was going to resign. Barrial was long gone. Brandon Vasquez just making his shock move to Monterrey. It's amazing how things work.
Pretty wild stuff.
Well, there was a time, Brian, when CST could wait till March or late March to come back.
April, man. April. And then you're done in October. It's the best. Now it's like I used to work in college athletics, and you're just like, okay, yeah, baseball season ends in May, and then soccer starts in August. You're like, just blink and it's
Major League Soccer somehow found a way to make the season last way longer and start way sooner. I'm not complaining, because there was some of those old USL years when we had such a huge offseason that I was just dying, absolutely dying for soccer to come back. So this is actually, if you follow NFL, like, the Super Bowl just ended, this is a really good, okay, now what? If all the football fans are having that now what moment, well, we all don't have that, because we're just going to immediately coast into FC Cincinnati. So that's pretty cool. All right,
hey, don't you hit on the Daytona 500 this weekend, pal? Come on now. Jeez, what a guy.
Zero clue that's happening. Let's give a shout out to a 2024 sponsor. Do you know, drum roll, who is it? The unveiling of Apollo Home, the same steady, rock solid sponsor, and that's what they can be to you, a rock solid company that helps you with your HVAC solutions, electric, home service, even plumbing now. Check out Apollo at apollohome.com. They've been an awesome sponsor for Cincinnati Soccer Talk, and they are launching into 2024 with us. Don't hesitate. You can call them or find them at apollohome.com. We want to talk, though, about Philadelphia and the Wild preseason. I actually thought our preseason was kind of lame, was kind of boring. And then these guys showed up for apparently a whirlwind of a match. Even got Mr. Tommy Scoops involved on Twitter. That's how booming it was. Justin, did you see this?
Yeah, I caught the updates of it. An insane matchup. It sounds like Philadelphia got out to a 3-0 lead really early in the match. Pat Noonan mentioned it in post-game comments that was a little bit uneasy with that to begin with, because it seemed like there was some miscommunication with the defense. But they quickly got that rectified, and it looks like Cincinnati was able to come back with a flurry of goals. I think it ended up being 4-3 in the final score. It was but I'm sure everybody is talking about the chippiness that was a preseason match between Philadelphia and Cincinnati.
I think it's interesting how no one saw this match played except for a handful of reporters that happened to be there or around there. And just like the sides that were already taken, like the Philadelphia fans are like, "Oh, Lucho deserved that foul." And it's just like, what? How do you know? Like, what? I don't understand. I don't understand how we're at war already when no one saw the match, Brian.
Yeah, I mean, it's been interesting to see the consistency of our lineups through this preseason so far. And I know we've been working in trial lists, but if you look at the lineup, the starting 11, I mean, it's about as best case, I guess, as you think we really could be right now. You had, Baird, Boupendza, Acosta up top, Buka and Wobodo in the midfield. You had a trialist at left back, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, Oriano. Murphy, Miazga, Robinson, then shock right back, Yuya Kubo there. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, like I know we always make the jokes about me saying despicable, but like with that lineup going down 3-0 in 15 minutes, I was starting to get a little nervous. Okay, like what are we trying to do differently? I know it's like spring training baseball. The pitcher's only throwing his curveball because he's trying to work on that curveball. Okay, so what were we trying to do over that first 15 minutes? Did we just start slow, or were we trying to do stupid things? And, lo and behold, Coach and Corey Baird said that they just started very slow. And then our offensive juggernaut, which we kind of thought it was already going to be, Boupendza scoring 2 goals, with Baird scoring another one. Lucho scoring 1, your shock right wing back, Yakubo doing an assist. So I was real positive overall, because that's, regardless if it's preseason or not, that's still a really freaking good defensive unit with Martinez in the midfield, your 2 legit center backs with Elliott and Glesnes, Andre Blake in goal, who our boy Boupendza styled on a little bit. But, I mean, overall, you just got to look at that and think, okay, when we had to dig down and get into that gear to start, succeeding, we were able to do it pretty quickly. So
Are we, and this may be a dumb question because I saw the lineup. I didn't see where everybody was starting. Are we certain we played our typical lineup with Kubo at the right back there, or do we change? I wondered because we went down so quick if we were in a 4-4-2 or something different trying it out.
I mean, it's preseason, so I think we're trying all kinds of stuff out. But my assumption, if you look at that lineup, it's hard, especially the way it's listed. I don't see how Kubo's not the right back.
Pat Brandon Pat Brandon put that in his story. So
yeah, Pat Noonan spoke on Yuya Kubo's performance in the right back, and
I missed that.
Lauded wasn't happy with his performance on the day. Wasn't sure that it was something to do with the position or if it was just an off day for Yuya Kubo, but definitely said that he loves the versatility that Yuya Kubo brings.
Yeah. Former forward to defensive midfielder to box, now right wing back.
If I remember correctly, I thought Kubo came in as an inverted left winger when he started. I may be wrong on that. I know he played up top.
He was a forward. He was brought in to be a forward. I don't know if, in a former club he was inverted, but he was definitely a forward starting off.
It's just hilarious now, his career evolution to right wing back.
Just give him the gloves at this point. Just like put him in goal for an Open Cup match or something like that. Just check every box.
Yeah. And again, we don't really know how this whole thing's going to play out. I mean, you have to add Barrial into this equation. Does that move Ariano over, and I apologize if I'm screwing that name up, over to the right wing back role, or does he stick with Kubo and Powell on that right wing back role for the time being? Seems crazy to me that Kubo's in that role and we haven't been able to bring in somebody else to fill that role. But we'll know here in 2 weeks through 3 games where our guys stand, which is exciting to think about.
I'm excited to see Kubo in that role. I think he played a tough 6 when he had to fill in there a couple years ago. I think he's got the defensive ability to do it. He can be creative. He plays the 10 in Lucho's absence, and like you said, he was brought in to be a forward. So he's got the ability. I don't know if he puts it all together at that position or not, but I'm excited to see it.
I want you guys to think about this, and I was thinking about what were our weaknesses last year. And it was maintaining possession versus top teams like Miami, like Columbus Crew, even having some issues sometimes versus like New York, Philly. So how can we do that better? And you have to have guys that can get on the ball, can maintain possession better, and putting in a guy like Kubo at the right wing, who's going to give you a defensive shift, offer that creativity, but also he can beat you with a pass or with a dribble. So that's some versatility there. Barrial on that left, Buka, which I'm excited to talk about here with his abilities. He's completely different than Junior Moreno. So, I mean, if we're going to be a team now, they can push those guys up. You don't have Mascara in the back anymore that's able to track back on a dot and make some emergency defending. So maybe we make those center backs play a little bit deeper and just say hell with it. Let's go Columbus Crew. Let's go throw 3 forwards in the attack, 2 wing backs. You're gonna have Paul Buka. God, I'm gonna get killed. Boston counter pressing in the midfield and Wobodo cleaning it up. I mean, that sounds a lot like Columbus and a lot like what succeeded in the playoffs last year.
Definitely a Wilfred Nancy moniker there. I mean, he did that with Montreal. So I would love to see Cincinnati do that, especially when we saw last year Powell and Arias had those runs to be like those runs were there. Mm-hmm. It's just that, with Powell, you didn't get that clinical finish or, good cross into the box.
Yeah. And I'm jumping around here and I'm sorry if I'm cutting off anybody here, but hey, we need to play this season where we are playing our best football at the end of the year. So we need to experiment. We need to try out different things. I mean, winning that supporter shield, changing the culture of the club is wonderful, but we still need to keep progressing with how this league is kind of shaped. There's these 4 or 5 clubs that take dramatic shifts in that summer transfer window period. And I want to be able to, set ourselves up to where we're still in the contention for, top positioning in the conference. But hey, man, let's find different ways to attack it and, find our strengths and weakness. Maybe Yuya Kubo is the best right wing back in Major League Soccer. I doubt it, but throw him to the wolves. We'll see what happens here real quick. And you got Alvis Powell there, and a couple young Argentinians that we can throw over there.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing, right? There's an option if the Kubo experiment fails in preseason, well then, you got this game against Jamaica. We'll see what we see really soon, and then there's seasons. I mean, we can still bring in people. There's still trades going on right now.
Yeah.
I think I saw already our front office is hinting that they won't be done. They'll be bringing in pieces even up into the season starting in the summer window, of course. So FC Cincinnati is never fully complete until about July. And so there's plenty of options. I really like your take, Brian. Best soccer football at the end of the season. And you're dead on there. And there's plenty of time. We've all seen teams come in, especially ones playing CONCACAF teams, weak at the start of the year, and then they come roaring back all summer long. And so I don't want to be in that position because FC Cincinnati last year did pretty good with building up an early lead. But if that's the way the cookie crumbles and we're roaring at the end of the year, it's a good year.
Step one, buy out Sergio Santos. Did I say that out loud?
Yeah, you did. You did. You're playing Kingmaker. Well, see, that's the other thing. There's one more theory to why Kubo is playing right back, and that is that it's all gone to Pat Noonan's head. He turned Barrial into a defensive star, and now he just thinks he can do it with anybody, and he's going to throw Kubo back there. We'll see Boupendza at center back at some point, and the man's just lost his mind. He's gone wild.
One more point. Have we moved him over to right wing back because we're seeing something out of Marco Angulo in camp this spring? Because I would really, really hope that that's the case. So we got a lot of money tied up into that kid, and he has to play. He has to play. I mean, I don't want to do another. Who's the guy that we wrote off for $4 million? Young kid, Tonga. I don't want another Tonga scenario. Throw the Wolves. We got enough support around him with Wobodo and 3-man back line. So we'll see.
Will he get the time, or will Buka play that?
Well, Buka's going to play the role, but that doesn't okay. So in the pecking order,
give him some time.
Well, yeah, but you have Buka there, okay, and every sub after the 60th minute for Moreno or whoever was back there was always Yuya Kubo.
That's true.
So now Yuya Kubo's playing the right wing. That's Angulo. And you got to let him. You have to make him play. You have to get him time. There ain't no loaning him out to Hartford.
What are we seeing out of the young guys coming out of preseason, playing that role?
As Brian just said, Hartford. They just loaned Joey to Hartford, and everything that I read, he was rocking preseason. And I just think that he's just in the situation where you have Haglund, Murphy, Miazga, Miles, Robinson, just all in front of him. And how on earth you just happen to have a young center back like taking off and doing great in the preseason? Well, he can't go anywhere. And you don't want him to play for FC Cincinnati 2 again. Like, we've already done that. You're just wasting his time at that point. So sending him to Hartford made a whole lot of sense.
Yeah. I think the thing I'm most excited for, especially when we're playing the Jamaican team, which is Justin, I want to call him Sheriff, but that's the team over in
No, it's
Eastern
Cavalier.
Europe. Thank you, Cavalier. My man.
The top of the table in the Jamaican League, guys.
Yeah.
Give them some respect.
I'll tell you what, that's a great league. Prison League, I heard actually. No, they play next to the prison there.
Yes.
I'm dead serious. What I was saying is, you're talking about the young kids. I really want to see what happens with Steven Jimenez, Dado Valenzuela, because that's the name you've heard a lot this offseason through people we talked to at camp with Pat Noonan. I think Justin, you probably talked to him on some of the interviews, and then Kimi. So I think those three are the big names that I'm circling to see, okay, where are these guys? Are they going to take that, this is kind of a stretch in analogy, but that Pinto jump where they're the third guy off the bench? Or is that, are those guys going to be able to produce this year? Or are they going to spend more time with FCC2?
Yeah,
they have to produce this year or they're not going to be here next year, I don't think.
I think particularly with Kimi, you have to see that next step for him. Jimenez was injured last year, so you could write that off. He'll be coming back to the club, but with Kimi, he's got to be able to solidify himself. I mean, this is about as shallow as our forward room has looked since early 2021. So we need to see Kimi step up. I don't think it will be the first game in the CONCACAF Champions Cup, but I think at least in the second game, if we've secured, a good aggregate.
Santos took a lick this week, man.
Exactly. So
he's going to have to. He'll have a shot. He's going to
Shocker.
have to produce. You're right. We are thin at the striker position, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Kimi brings. But yeah, it was Dotto that I was thinking of, and it was Jimenez, and seeing what they can bring to that midfield there. And I think we did. We saw Angulo grow last year and develop. I would have liked to have seen more of that. So anxious to see what he brings starting the season. But yeah, man, I get what you're saying, Brian. I think we do need more out of him. I think it was a slow progression last year, but hopeful for the start of the season.
Jay Yates popping in here, and I'm going to use this as a transition point because I think you guys did a great job of covering the youth. He said, I don't know how to phrase this question, but I assume we are all surprised Barreal isn't going to Europe or anywhere. Is there any chance we let him play a more traditional position, whatever that is, to help him out and increase his value? You guys are talking about being thin at striker. Do you let Barreal move back up? I think it's a valid question, especially if FCC is looking for a summer sell-on.
No, I think his value has been set as a left wing back.
He is hard to sell, apparently, as a left wing back.
Well, it's kind of, 10 years ago, left wing back would be a fresh, hot commodity that everybody would want, right? Whenever they were introducing these forward wing backs to Europe, right? But now it's kind of a dying breed, but there's still clubs, maybe not the top tier, the Premier League or the Serie A or, La Liga. You're not seeing players in left wing back positions sell on high. So it's kind of, I guess, managing your expectation versus value. And then let's be honest, that was the winter window. That's not when teams in Europe have the most roster flexibility. So I think it's smart move by him and smart move by the club to bring him back for, until summer and then see what kind of offers come then.
I agree, man. I think I think it'd be fun to see him as maybe an inverted right winger for an opportunity here and there, but I think his value's on that left side. I'm excited to see, you talk about how we start the season, we experiment, and we kind of touched on it earlier, like the guys that we have on the field can hold the ball in possession longer. They're faster. They're more attacking minded with the guys that we brought in, even with Pavel Buka in place of Junior Moreno. It moves the ball forward. I know we'll talk about him a little bit here, a little bit more here in a few minutes, but I feel like we're going forward and we're going hard. So let's get Barreal up the field, get him some goals early on in the season, kickstart his value or jump his value a little bit to sell in the summer window.
Mm-hmm. Just because the question has to be asked, Weigel, was FCC's price too high? Is that why he didn't go anywhere?
Man, I just hate to speculate on all that stuff. I mean, he has to be sold for something that makes sense to FC Cincinnati, and with the sell-on fees to Velez. Yeah, I mean, I think you have to hold that line and just see what happens for the summer. I mean, there's no reason to sell him for anything less than what we feel like he's worth at this moment. And you never know what's going to happen. I mean, we all thought Brandon Vasquez lost half his value, and we still sold him for $8 million or whatever that was down to Mexico. So it's the nature of the beast. I'm devastated, absolutely devastated for Alvaro. I don't want him. I love seeing him thrilled, but like I feel like horrible for a good soldier. Like I didn't want to see him back here because I wanted to see him kicking butt over in Italy or Spain or wherever he deserved to be. But we'll cheer him on and see if we can get some Twitter buzz for him, right, B?
That's right.
I'm kind of surprised. I think you're right. He deserves to go somewhere and I'm just shocked no one just saw him. Him and Lucho Acosta's chemistry and was like, nah, we don't want that guy right now.
I'll be honest.
I'm only going to offer $3 million for that.
I think to Justin's point is you don't want to mess so if you're a coach in Europe, you don't want to mess with your system that you have going right now. And then conversely, like if you're a fringe team, relegation based team, like are you going to try to, be tight defensively, or are you going to be more explosive? And I think that you're going to settle maybe for a more defensive minded signing to kind of stay the course through the rest of the season. If lower risk, I guess you could say. I mean, I always make this joke, but look at the first 15 minutes of the MLS All-Star game versus Saka, and you saw some defensive fragility there. I know, I can't believe I made that point in an All-Star game, but you know what I'm saying. So I think his window, when you get an ambitious coaching staff, ambitious sporting director going into a new season that's willing to take a little bit more risk, I think the value for a guy like him will be higher, and there will be more suitors for him versus, hey, we need to really shore up that left back spot on our defense. Let's go get a former winger. So it's to Justin's point. I mean, it's not necessarily the right window for him, even though it just kills me for the guy.
The world's loss is our gain, though, as Barreal comes back, and that just adds a whole lot of options to this team in the spring and all those early competitions we have. Oof, I mean, selfishly, it's awesome,
dude. I can't wait. I cannot wait. We were playing soccer this past weekend, and all of my kids, like that coach, replicate MLS players. Or not FCC players, and like half my kids like always hike up their shorts to like inappropriate heights due to Barreal. So like, yeah, we can see that still, or not. Like I don't want to see the little kids, but you know what I'm saying with Barreal going to hell. Funny story. This weekend we were playing soccer, and don't know what happened, but a kid dribbled, got on a breakaway, beat his keeper, turned around, backheeled the goal, and went Boupendza. I lost it. Oh
man, that's perfect.
I just think it's cool that all these kids know exactly who they're emanating, and it's local Cincinnati soccer players. That's like sweet to me.
That's fun.
It's why we started this show 9 years ago, to get people involved and to grow this thing for our kids so they get to watch us. And my son is fighting with my cousin over the last ticket to next Sunday's game. I love it.
I like that. Who's going to win?
Yeah. Little Bryan, because he doesn't get to go to that following Wednesday night game. That's probably.
All right, guys, we have some new players, and that's exciting. We talked about Barreal a long time. I guess he's kind of a new player, gone and back again. But we actually have real new players and another Argentinian. Help me if I'm saying this wrong. Orellano. Is that how you say it?
I think it's Orellano.
Orellano.
2 L's. So Orellano.
Yeah, somebody came up to me at Grainworks when we had our event 2 weeks ago, and they said, "I can't wait to hear you botch all these new players' names." I was like, "No, it was somebody much nicer than Rupesh, actually." I mean, I'm kind of. You talk about chemistry between Acosta and Barreal. We now have Luca to add to the mix, and anybody else just absolutely pumped. What does he bring? What does he bring to the table, Bryan?
Yeah, I'll jump in.
Sure.
So I was just watching some film on the guy. It looks like he's a creative player. He's very, I think, Barreal-esque. And he's very left-footed, from what I can tell, from what I can see. He's played as an inverted winger. He's strong on the ball. He's creative. He can dribble guys. Maybe a little quicker, than Barreal. I don't know that for sure, but I think I've seen him. The film I've seen, he's willing to make the dangerous pass, and he can put it on a dime. But everything I saw, he was on the right side of the pitch. So can he convert to the left side as a wing back? So not only changing sides of the pitch, but playing that strong defensive position that we need him to. I know Barreal made the switch. It took him a couple seasons to really solidify that position, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm excited to see him play. I just wonder about the position, if he can fill the role like Barreal did.
Well, he doesn't have to step on the field day one and be that guy. Now, we'll see how Barreal's been training and if he's fit to go versus Toronto in the MLS opener. But yeah, I think he's a guy that he's going to create with his feet. He can certainly pass, but just that added dynamism for a young player. The ball sticks to his feet. I mean, you just go out and look at his qualities on his videos, and you're just like, okay, yeah. I think he could probably make that work in this league. We'll see what the physicality of this league has to offer. But he's also on kind of a prove it deal. He's on a loan, I believe, coming in from Vasco da Gama, which is a coup signing. If that's the case from Chris Albright, because we were going to have to probably pass on him if we didn't have the actual, cash to make that, or the budget space to make that move with a large transfer fee. So we'll see what happens, but he's going to have time to grow. And as we'll talk about the other edition, it's just a new alternative and a different way to create chances on the field.
Yeah. I like that, Brian, because I haven't heard anybody talk about it, and maybe because it's not officially announced all the way, but everybody's talking about Miami and how Miami's signing these U22 players and how are they going over budget. But this is a little bit of Albright magic, as you said. So maybe when we put all these players on the field, somebody will notice that we game the system a little bit. Justin, you got anything else to add, or do you want to move on to Buka?
No, that sounds good. I think that was good scouting.
I mean, let's be real, though. It's not officially official because he's a part of our foot volleyball team.
Kevin Michael had a comment there that we hear his right foot is stronger than Barreal's right foot. I've heard that. The film I saw, every time he beat three guys, he'd take it down the right side and he'd go to cross with his right foot, and the film cut out. So I never saw where he delivered that ball ever with his right foot, but I'm going to trust that.
I mean, the other bonus is there's chemistry. He's played with Barreal in the past. I mean, that's super cool that you just come in with a little bit of chemistry. I'm not sure if it's really like all that much to talk about, but if we see like magic on day one, I'm going to say that I said the word chemistry with them too first here on this show. So just planting a little seed for the future is all. Oh, Brian, can you tell us a little bit about Buka was this week? We put a story up on Cincinnati Soccer Talk, probably the best thing I think I've seen up this entire offseason, in my opinion. No offense to anyone, especially all the people that were part of our player series. Awesome. But
I mean, I really like Justin's pieces on our supporters. They were very talented, well written, thought out pieces.
Yeah. I realized as I started saying it, I was like, oh no, Justin's right here. But no, Nate's story, putting this together. The real reason I like it is because I don't do enough homework on these players. And so when somebody just hands me a script, basically, that is beautifully well written and well researched, I'm like, yes, less work for Boston. But Brian, you had a note here about it, so I just wanted your thoughts.
So with Pavel Buka, please, guys, go check on CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com. Check out Nate's piece. You kind of see that with last year with Junior Moreno, we would stagnate with him on the ball. We really struggled to get the ball forward, linking that center backs and forward without, maybe getting it to Wobodo. With Buka, he's a guy that's not necessarily going to create with his feet. He does have progressive dribbling attributes, but he's more known for his line splitting passes, his ability to pick a runner out and put it on a dime. So I'm very excited to see how he's going to be able to link Lucho higher up the field, so maybe Lucho doesn't have to track back further and get that ball off of our center backs. So also, I mean, he's going to hopefully sit in front of Wobodo and say, if our forwards turn the ball over, he's going to be able to counter press. His counter pressing stats are wild, if you guys go check out some of his Y Scout charts and everything on the website. I'm just very excited what he has to offer. He's kind of his stats jump off the page. I mean, he's always high in these attributes in that Czech league that he was in. Now, is that a comparable league to MLS or Turkey? I think what Nate puts out there, it kind of remains to be seen. But overall, I mean, on paper, this guy looks like he's just going to offer that extra dynamic ability to, change things up with those line splitting passes and to get our guys in the right positions going forward. So, Lucho doesn't have to run those extra 10 yards on every build-up play.
Yeah, thanks. And if you want a little bit more, go over Nate. I think he uses all kinds of the best research money can buy with Y Scout and several other software statistical analysis websites, and he puts together those great things. If he keeps those coming on all of our new signings, Cincinnati Soccer Talk is going to be the place to be because he's really good at it, and we appreciate his work on that front. All right, real quick, as we get into the second half of the show, we want to thank our returning sponsor as well, Beyond Exercise. They are a local physical therapy and fitness business that helps everyone get active and stay active. I kid you not, we were talking to him just a few weeks ago, and Brandon Vasquez was going there up until the very end of his tenure here. That's how much Brandon thought of Beyond Exercise and the training and physical therapy he got there. They currently are offering discounts for their ACL injury prevention screens. That program was piloted by Nick Hagland and Brandon Vasquez. If that is interesting to you, learn more at gobeyondexercise.com. And you can reach out to us. We can always put you in touch with them as well. Feedback at CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com, of course, is our email address. If you have any ideas, cool things you want to send in for us to talk about, we will do it, or tweet us at Cincy Soccer Talk. And of course, as always, we are supported by our patrons. We'll get into that a little bit later. But guys, there are a bunch of players, Brian touched on it at the top of the show, that are not coming back. I think a lot of us thought we had a fun show towards the end, like who's going to come back, who's not going to come back. A lot of us are totally wrong, as we usually are with those kind of segments. I'll tell you, for me, biggest surprise, Junior Mourinho. And I did not think Pat Noonan was going to cut one of Lucho Acosta's favorite players. I just thought that Junior Mourinho was too special to be cut, and shocked by it. I don't know if it's a long move, but Brian, what does your sign mean? Pilot call sign. so confused.
He's not Maverick.
For those listening on the podcast, Brian Weigel is currently holding up a sign that says hashtag he's not Maverick. Does this have something to do with Junior Mourinho in Saudi Arabia, Brian?
Playing with the boys. It's the episode title, Boston. Playing with the boys.
You're right.
I am so devastated. So devastated that Junior Moreno's not back, because it is a crime and a crime against the league that we have to move on players like Junior Moreno because he does not fit into the salary budget. So he took a payday over to Saudi Arabia because he didn't have any domestic talents. The guy makes too much money for Major League Soccer, and it pisses me off because he's a guy that deserves to be back here in orange and blue, and yet we're too cheap to capitalize on the Messi train, the Messi hype train, and he's gone. So, yeah, I'm pissed because I think he's the guy that kind of came in, free agent signing, or not free agent, he was a trade technically, but he was same difference because he wasn't going to go back to DC. Appreciate you, Junior Moreno. Devastated you're not here, but good luck in Saudi. Also, what is the new pilot call sign for Boston? Hashtag he's not Maverick. Playing with the boys.
Yeah, I feel like Moreno's signing when he came in began to change our midfield, change how we played the game. He shored it up. Like that was the start of it when he came in. So definitely going to miss the guy. I'm excited about Buka, what he brings offensively, but Moreno's the guy that he was just steady, right? He was he wasn't going to make the dangerous pass, but he was going to make the safe pass. He was going to attack. He was going to get the ball. Yeah, we're going to miss him out on the field, but we'll see what this offensive-minded midfield brings this season.
And, of course, we're missing Santiago Arias as well. And probably a staple on the right side when he was healthy. Justin, surprised or not surprised? Arias is gone.
I'm not surprised. I think it's surprising because it leaves a vacuum, and we haven't filled that vacuum. I was more surprised that we didn't have an immediate replacement for him. But no, with the minutes not being there, and I think that Arias pushed too high at times, and that really irked Pat Noonan. He likes the aggressiveness, and especially when Barriel, there to the end, had some weak legs. We just can't afford to have two guys pushing up with our back line the way it was with the lack of depth. I mean, we can't defend very well whenever we're in a set. Obviously we have pieces, but I just don't think that Santi Arias was ever what we wanted him to be, and that was physical presence, player that plays with passion. We saw it in glimpses against Inter Miami, a few other games there toward the end, but it just never realized.
And of course, he's now in Brazil. One of our players that has not found a home yet, and I guess that means theoretically could be back, Ray Gaddis. Do you want to see him back, Biedenbach?
I like his leadership on the field. I think, again, he was that, I don't want to equate him with Moreno, but he was steady. He was strong in the back, never did much going forward. But the guy retired once already, right? I don't know that we'll see him back. We are thin maybe on that right side, so having some depth there might be valuable, and I wouldn't mind it. But I don't know. Does he stick around after a couple seasons, or does he retire again?
We have 2 senior spots left. Needs to be impact players.
We brought back Powell.
Gray.
Yeah, we brought back Powell.
You could bring back one of those 2 guys. Whoever took the least money was going to get that role. I'm serious. I guarantee you, whoever signs it first wins.
Yeah, I would like to see Ray just come on if he's interested in it, obviously. But I would like to see him come into the coaching staff, find some room there, whether it's in the academy or the 2 team somewhere, because he's obviously been one of the best leaders that FC Cincinnati's had.
It's not a bad idea. Upstanding guy. We'd have a whole, what if he helped coach FC Cincinnati too?
I was just going to say, player coach, let's do it.
And then 3 years from now, we've brought up all these players and half the team's tucked. It's the tuck spreads through the first team and the second team. We just become the tuck team of Major League Soccer.
That would be magical.
Let's turn the page. Dom Badji is now in Turkey. I'll take this one since I let each of you take one. I think not surprised here. With Santos still on the roster, they needed some kind of change up top. The super subs last year when you had Badji and Santos come on just weren't sparking, I think, as much as we all hoped would. Badji came out of the gate firing last year and then kind of dried up. So overall, I have nothing against Dom. I just think it's better to try your luck elsewhere and see if you can find something that works. See if you can find another Brandon Vasquez diamond in the rough. Maybe we can steal. Does anybody check Nashville's roster? They giving away any more players? I mean, that Brandon Vasquez thing worked one time. Maybe we can, go back to the same slot machine that paid out last time and see if it works again.
They're still trying to solve the forward position themselves.
Yeah, because they give away all their. Just go take whatever they'll give you, and then that player is guaranteed to be successful.
Not your best idea there, B.
Hey, I'm just saying, it worked once. Yerson Mosquera recalled. We fought. From what I understand, we fought to bring him back. And failed because the Wolves realized he's pretty solid, although those backstabbing traders just loaned him out to somebody else. So probably just getting him more experience in other leagues. We wish Mascara the best, and if he somehow finds his way in Major League Soccer down the road, sign us up. Could we get first dibs, Brian? If we had a player on loan, does that mean he's like forever on our discovery list? Tell me, there's some magical thing.
His name's Miles Robinson. Yes.
I mean, sure, it worked out, but he's still a good player. Wouldn't mind having him.
Yerson was incredible, and we will never see him here unless he's 35 years old.
Yep.
The only time you're going to see him is in Copa America or the World Cup.
I mean, he's starting at Villarreal in La Liga. Like, I mean, that should tell you your pedigree right there. I mean, it's, you know, Barca's not what they were, or Real Madrid aren't what they were. But I mean, good Lord, like what a heck of, I mean, to be choosing between, oh man, the Premier League team that's going to get, you know, relegated or potentially get relegated is loaning me out to La Liga. Like, oh man, boo-hoo. I think it's awesome. And we saw him start last game. Had an excellent header in the box. More power to our son.
Hey man, like, let's be real. Matt Miazga just played for Alaves over there, so it's not like it's the craziest thing in the world. Jeez. People are like, you're such an idiot. I love it though.
All right, we'll dive into some fun topics here coming up. We got roster construction and what Brian Weigel is calling random AF. So we will dive into those teams real quick, though. Let's give a shout out to those fans that are sponsoring and keeping Cincinnati Soccer Talk website and podcasts free for everyone in 2024. Shout out to Red Lee, John Davidson, Mike Hudson, Robert Stevens, Laurel Thaler, Matthew Adamchek, Riley Stevenberg, James Denbrough, Tom Newhouse, Brian Weigel, Brian Gills, Dan Alberts, Will Kajcek. Turning the page here. Need one of those piano assistants. Ian Rexroad, Carl Fight, Christina Sharma, Kyle Pohl, Rupesh, Tom Beaversdorf, Jason, who is super average, Ryan Ernst, Wes Anastasi, Rob Pierce, Clifford Adams, Thomas Steps, Pierce Johnson, Mike Parentis, David Wiederhold, Rob Cassell, Bradley Weigel, Alex Carnegus, Dave Tingler, Patrick Lahani, Mike Bowman, Brett Sova, Kevin Cooney, Joe Max, Jack Emery, David Moore, Bob Ryan, Ryan Durkin, Bart Labita, Rob Trappell, Joe Lohr, Bill Leopold, Marine De Moray, Jose, John Cafardi, Justin Blair, Kyle Phillips, Ashley Newhouse, Dan Burns, Mark Klippingler, Justin Gregory, Scott Dalton, Jeffrey Tebbets, Troll Jackson Fight, Matt Bauer, Pete, who is not related to Alan Koch, Mark Godsey, Todd Schrienbach, and Eric Johnson. Thank you all for maintaining off-season support and rolling into 2024. We appreciate you all. All right, roster construction right off the bat. I'm just gonna like hot fire because I don't want you guys to think about this. Are we a better team than 2023 right now?
No.
I like that. I like that honesty.
Yes. Okay.
Go ahead, Justin. No, finish this comment because you had a great comment on Slack a couple days ago.
Yeah, I did. No, we're not a better team because we have more holes. I mean, last year we came in with Junior Moreno, Miranda Wobano, playing in the midfield, and we knew what we had with Brenner and Vasquez playing up top. Now we have two pieces. You know, we saw 5 months of Boupendza. Obviously, is firing off really well in the preseason, and I expect him to have 14, 15 goal season. But currently speaking, we do not have a better roster. We had Barrial that was slotting over. We knew what we had with that. Powell had played right back for us. And the only question mark was Yerson Mascara. And, that ended up working out pretty well.
Where's the hole on the roster?
Where's the hole on the roster?
You just said we have more holes. Where is the hole?
The biggest hole is the right back. I mean, clearly. It's literally like Powell again, and we don't really know how that dynamic is going to work this year with Boupendza, because we knew that Brandon liked to play a little bit closer to midfield on some of those long ball plays. So, how's that dynamic now going to play when Boupendza's way up in the box? And then the other thing is Pavel. We just haven't seen Pavel play MLS competition yet. And right now, currently, that's what we're riding on. We have seen N'Golo play against MLS competition, highs, lows, but that there's question marks on this team. And then of course Corey Baird versus Brenner, like where are we with that? So I say that it's just not as good as we were coming into the 2023 season.
That was the Cincinnati sports fan take if I've ever heard one. Just going for the worst case scenario across the board.
I didn't grow up here. I didn't grow up in Cincinnati. So
you've taken to it well.
It onto you?
I guess. I don't know. Like I don't think that it's a bad thing. I just think that last year, I mean, we were coming in, after winning a playoff game and taking the Eastern Conference Philadelphia Union to the wire. So, I mean, and we were pretty much returning every player. So we were, odds-on favorite to be one of the best teams in the East. And then no one questioned our front three at all. I think a lot of people are questioning our front two right now. So I just think perception and potentially, I'm not saying we're going to be bad. I just think that perception going into the season for a fan feels like we're probably a little bit worse than when we started 2023.
You sorry, I'm steamrolling here, Brian. You're talking about how great Brenner was and how well we knew Brenner was going into the year, but you do remember that he didn't show up to the second game of the year, right?
Yeah, I do. But he had 18 goals the year before. I mean, you can come whenever you want, dude. Just show up and score goals.
I just think we knew what we had last year, but I feel like they underperformed coming out from the year before. Brenner wasn't on the pitch much. He wasn't showing up to games. Vasquez wasn't putting the ball in the net. We had was Moreno our leading scorer to start the season? Did he have?
It was Santos.
Santos was, so he was putting balls in the net. No one else was. So we knew what we had, but they weren't bringing it to start the season. So I'm hopeful. I do think we've got stronger. We don't know what we have. We haven't seen them play together. But here's the thing. We talked about it earlier in the show. We've got guys that can break lines with these passes we've got more of those guys out on the pitch than we've ever had before. And so if you get a guy like Boupendza that can make that run, and you get a guy like, Lucho Acosta that can make that play, pass the ball or make that run, give a Corey Baird up top or a Kimi Ordonez an opportunity to run onto a ball that's played through that back line, I think we've got more chance creating players out there. And we just need someone up top that can put them in.
So the big issue with MLS teams with this roster construction mechanisms is how do the good teams stay good without faltering, because you're having to pay more players. And we had to make some tough decisions this year, but then you go out and find players that fit your profiles like Buka. I know we threw a lot of praise on N'Golo last year coming into the year, and he didn't pan out. Can Oriano do that? Can Kubo slot in the right back? Can Powell fill in for a couple, games until we can kind of get our footing? Overall, I am very happy with how this roster is taking up. I think our depth across the board is better. Plus the fact that if you do sell, Barreal, you're going to get another $1.2 million influx in allocation money that you can spread over the next 2 years on top of three senior roster spots that you'll have. Already about $1.6 million. So we're looking really good with 2 senior roster spots open and potentially $3 million worth of additional roster flexibility in the summer window. I am really liking the pieces, and I would argue that we are just as good going into the year as last year.
I think you both have valid points, because on Justin's side, we did not lose a game last year till St. Louis, 8 games in, 5-2 going into that, 5 wins, 2 draws. That is a tough repeat ask. I don't care how good your team is. That's a tough repeat ask. So, Justin, you have a leg to stand on. As much as they beat you up there, I think you have a leg to stand on. But I do like elements of the chemistry. I like things coming back. Obviously, we're not going to see as many problems, hopefully, knock on wood, between Acosta and Boupendza. They're probably going to be playing together better. Barreal coming back really probably seals the deal for me, that we, on paper, look good, pretty dang good. And I think MLS should be slightly scared of us.
You have a DP level player coming back to us making $600,000, and he's only going to be slotting in for like $400K on our roster because he's going to be gone. So yeah, I'm pretty happy.
Last year, you all, as we closed out the season, kept harping about Acosta can't be the only person. You got to give him minutes. You got to give him breaks. Did FC Cincinnati alleviate your concerns at all in that area, or you still think this team is 100% dependent on Lucho Acosta?
No, but a lot of people like Dabo, so
Dado,
whatever it is. I'm sorry. He got like how many minutes last year? Like 100 minutes, maybe. And most of those were Open Cup matches. So we have to see. It just has to be. I would much prefer a veteran presence, just to back that up, right? Just somebody on their way out, 33-year-old, like, just somebody that has played MLS soccer, maybe not at a high level, but just somebody on the pitch that can be competent with the ball up top when Lucho is not there. Because when Lucho is not there, we're just a turnover fest. We almost have no midfield. So it's like we have to address that, in my opinion.
Pavel Buka.
Gonna solve the problem?
You think he slots up to 10?
No, but I think he gives you more abilities to pass throughout that role. So it will be interesting to see, I assume you throw Kubo probably back in that, or you're going to have young attacking Argentinian playmakers, 2 of them. So just put one left back, put one at left wing, and you're good. That's basic. That's just making a basic point.
But I wonder, though,
if
we're making the assumption Oriano's coming in, he could potentially, with his presence on the ball, his ability with the ball, could potentially slot in there early on in the season if Barrial's still at the left back. But I don't see him as a full-time replacement there. I don't know if we start him there, or if he even gets time there, but I think it's a possibility.
You've heard us say it throughout the show, and again, I'm not trying to pick on you, Justin. Pat Noonan is going to have more levers to pull this year than he did last year of impact players.
I agree with that. I think the ceiling at this point was higher last year, but I do agree with that. He has a lot more flexibility with how he can line up.
All right. If you haven't checked out the FC Cincinnati, the Cincinnati Soccer Talk.com roster tool, it has been updated with the latest news that we know about. I believe Brad Weigel, Ken Hedger come out of retirement every once in a while to flip those numbers and switches behind the scenes to make sure our cap tool gets as accurate as we can get. Obviously, every year in the summer, we update that when the numbers officially come out, and we like to see how close we were on some of our guesses or estimates based on what we hear around the league. $1.6 million in cap is estimated to be remaining, plus our GAM-TAM without the newest signing that hasn't yet to be announced. So I think you can add in $1.2 million with Barrial if he gets sold this summer, right, Bri? And that leaves a lot of options for the staff, kind of in amazing positions. This just shocks me every time I see numbers like this because of how badly mismanaged we were for years. But I love seeing the room and the magic they can still do. If heaven forbid someone big goes down injured or whatnot, there are options here. So that's great. Things going on this week before we get up to the game. There is a food event at TQL, so you'll see all your favorite media accounts putting out what's going to be in the stadium this year. Keep an eye on that if you want to see what restaurants are coming and going. I heard the beer selections are changing. Moorline's back is a big rumor, and so Sam Adams out, Moorline in is the last I heard. So if you like Moorline, that's a good. If you're kicking and screaming, there's still Sam Adams a couple blocks away before the match. You can go there.
Wait. Is beer tasting going to be at the event? Like I might need to reschedule my plans a little bit here.
FC Cincinnati is now going to play all their matches at Northern Kentucky University. Back in the day, they made comments about opening up Mercy Health training facility. I think that's kind of changed as that facility's become more and more important. They've added more and more academy teams to it. It's just not quite available. So NKU is getting a complete overhaul. Any of you guys know what's going on over there? No.
So they're going to get some. They're going to have the ability, or FCC is going to come in and have MLS2 specific locker rooms. So FCC2 will have a locker room. Visiting team will have a specific locker room, so they won't have to use the NKU team facilities. That whole pitch is going to be replaced with a grass surface, which is wonderful that we don't have to have any guys risk injuries on the fake plastic stuff. And the club's actually going to build I think a track and fake grass training field next to the stadium. So it's just going to make it a little bit more friendly, a little bit more professional vibes for the MLS Next Pro. And I'm honestly, I love that it's over in Northern Kentucky, because it gets that side of the river a little bit more, buy-in. Worst side of the river, Justin. But
no.
I'm joking. I love Kentucky. I love Kentucky.
It'll be the best soccer-specific stadium in the state of Kentucky. That's for sure.
Oh wait,
oh
not
my
for long.
God. Lexington SC and Louisville have something to say. Get out
Not
of here.
for
Justin.
long, there, buddy.
Get out of here.
You just wait,
Dude. You can't even sell. They can't even sell beer at their games right now. Come on.
Right now. You can thank the University of Kentucky for that.
You can get beer at FCC2 games. I remember.
Dude, we could get beer at the what were they called? The Lions. What was that place? The old team.
Oh yeah,
Cincinnati
Dutch Lions.
Cincinnati Dutch Lions, man.
You could throw back some beers.
$2 beer night there at NKU Stadium. I loved it.
Yeah, FCC 2 still keeps it pretty Dutch Lions-y. Honestly, it's pretty low key. You can go in. They don't even charge. You can grab your beers, sit wherever you want. It's got the same vibes. Just check it out if you haven't been.
I went to school at NKU. It's a nice place to go.
It's an awesome soccer facility.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the grass field. That's what that place has been missing. They redid the turf field a few years ago, but it still is just a little rough. If you're going to have a bunch of athletes there trying to stretch out their pro careers, which honestly FCC2 is a really young team. NKU is a really young team. Make an investment that benefits both the university and the club. It's a win-win. It's a no-brainer. And then you have the side field to train on, so you don't always tear up the grass. It's like another Mercy Health training facility. I like it. Thanks for that update, Brian. Appreciate it. 4 days away from a new kit release on 2/16. I think we're all excited. The rumors of a white cream kit are coming down the pipe. So if it's anything like the leak that we saw from FC what do you call it? EAFC, is that the name of it now? There was a small leak. I'm not sure if it's real or not, and it was really bad quality, so I'm not holding any hats to it regardless. But I liked what I saw, and I've always been a sucker for white kits anyway. So if it's white,
I'm a carrot top, and I have to spray myself with spray sunscreen, and that does not go well with white. So we'll be passing on that one.
Put it on first,
dude. Sweat. It's called sweat. Goes all over.
The photos they put out, the trim looks pretty slick. I'm excited about that. I don't know that it matches with the leak that they showed, but again, it was poor quality. Who knows? But the trim looks pretty slick.
If they get rid of that secondary alternate logo, which was like the Cincinnati, but like with the bridge, if they get rid of that, I'm pissed. That was the coolest thing that I've seen branding wise out of this club.
Well, it'll still be on the River kit, but
yeah, they will.
Yeah, it's like at least from the leak and that, it's like an all for Cincy with like a paint splash coming out of it. At least the way it looks. It's not official. I don't know.
J8 said, as long as the numbers are silver and unreadable, I'll be happy. I like that comment. Yeah, I'll buy it, whatever it is. If it's anything like the orange kits, you needed to go in person and look at the orange ones, because even the professional photos just didn't do them justice. And the way, you're walking through a room, the light hits that one differently. Sometimes it shows the Cincinnati outline, sometimes it doesn't, like the flag. So if it's anything like that, I always hold your judgment till you're sitting in the store looking at them, and you'll probably buy them because you're an impulse person like me.
My
You're already in the
favorites-
store.
Yeah. My favorite story on CST every year is the rapid reaction piece from Jacob Clary, because it is always negative and I love it. It's so funny. Every year. Just this dude slays it. I love it. My favorite story.
We love
Oh,
you,
yes.
Jacob.
Yeah. Yeah, but then you have like the diehard FC Cincinnati fans that just immediately get mad at them. Because there's gonna be those people that are gonna love the kit no matter what, and then there's like the kit snob kind of vibes that are like, no, unless it's like Liverpool 1993, I'm not happy.
Like our first or second kit, whatever it was, I can't remember if it was the second one or whatever it was, but we ripped the the Bayern Munich kit. I put like, I'm so thankful for Adidas being creative. We just ripped off one of the largest teams, and I got murdered. Every year I always go, this is why we need Nike.
Can we all agree the bold kit is the worst kit?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Which one was that
2020?
one?
2020, the like,
Like
It's
the
got the
two-tone,
Three stripes.
here.
yeah,
yeah, blue on one, two different blues or whatever.
Yeah.
the one that half the league had.
Yeah. Not a fan.
That's making a comeback, by the way. It's one of the new stock kits for Adidas this year for youth soccer. It's coming back. Watch out.
No, we've had mostly good kits. I can't argue with them. Even the bomb pops were great. I can't wait. It's coming. Like year 10 is my guess for FC Cincinnati. Maybe year 15. They're gonna bring back retro bomb pop kits. Kansas City's doing a retro third kit this year. So as soon as we get old enough, we'll do it.
Yeah, like an old badge at least, like Brian's wearing.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Bring out the old lion. That's a sweet idea. All right. Well, we got to wrap things up here, Justin. Since we held you off at the beginning of the show, we'll jump first into your final thoughts. First episode closing out. You better go out with a bang.
It is a bang. Yeah, the Pride is having a scarf release party this Friday at 7 p.m. at Northern Row. And then also the Brigade is going to be doing a scarf release party on my side of the river, Saturday 1 to 4 at Long Necks and Wilder. And from what I can see, these are open to everybody. So if you are interested in a supporters group, you want to check it out, catch the vibes, maybe just get ready for the season with some cool FC Cincinnati fans, come on out there. Both groups are amazing people.
Awesome. Yeah, I highly recommend both of those, and both of them I'm sure are going to have killer designs. I actually haven't seen either one yet. If they're out, I just haven't been spoiled, I guess. Brian, we will throw it to you, sir.
Yeah, I got two quick ones. One, I joined this from a distance last year, joined CST from a distance last year. So just a few weeks ago when we had our kind of end of season get together was the first time I met most of this crew in person. And so it was fun to put names with faces. Some of our sponsors were there. Some fans were there. I just thoroughly enjoyed that. So I wanted to say thanks for that. I happened to be in town when that was going on. It was awesome. My second quick one is I think this is going to be Kimi Ordonez's breakout season. I said it.
Nice.
I'm staking my claim there. We'll see if I'm right or not.
I hope you have better luck than my early season guesses. I wish you well, my friend. All right, Mr. Waggle.
I just can't believe we're doing this for another lap around the sun. So see how we do. Can't wait for it. So the awesome part about FC Cincinnati and the supporters groups here is that there's always something for everybody. Yes, there's infighting sometimes, but for the most part, we're very civil, and there's always been a great meeting of the minds. Unlike our pals up north going through some legal issues because they can't figure out how to vote online, which is just it's so Columbus. That's just so Columbus. So there's a new organization out there called the Forge. which is going to be a group that's going to be in charge of all TIFO building for this upcoming season. They have some TIFO paintings coming up this Saturday, the 17th from 3 to 7, and then Sunday, the 18th from 10 a.m. Until complete. It's all going to be in the First Financial Club in TQL Stadium. So go check them out at The Forge, Forge Cincy, on or at The Forge Cincy on X, Twitter, whatever you call it. So just awesome that there's another outlet for what you want to do with this club. If you want to be a screaming, crazy, banging the drums like Bill Wolf, do that. If you just want to be a guy behind the scenes but paint and be proud of something, go do that. I love this club and how there's always a little niche for how you want to belong. So great to those people, and thank you for the time, because God, that's just amazing how you guys can do that stuff.
Yeah, people ask me every year, it seems like, why doesn't Cincinnati Soccer Talk have a spot where all you guys are always at, and a group? And it's because there are already so many awesome groups out there that really to do something on our own would just take away from the natural order of things. And so we actually support all these groups, and any of our listeners, go experiment with it. Go see if there's something you like. If sitting in the Bailey and Drummond's not for you, and going to the second deck and hanging out, that's perfectly fine too. We got a lot of listeners. I'm a First Financial guy myself. Retired up the old screaming vocal cords a couple years ago, but I still like to jump around every now and then in the Bailey. There's no wrong way to be a fan of this club. And to pile on what Bryan's saying, pre-games, there are so many cool spots in OTR that we would be worse. Honestly, we would be worse if we did it ourselves. So go have fun and go. There's all kinds of preseason activities. Of course, DI will be doing Bachfest like they always do. So there's a lot of fun stuff out there you can jump on. Thanks for mentioning that, guys. I just saw that information on the Forge myself. I'm excited to see that. I think that's a good evolution for FCC fans to have an official TIFO group. And we are happy to be back for another season. So stay tuned. I know Coach is recording. Jeff Tebbets is dropping hints that he might be out there as well. So you might see the CST feeds firing up and getting crazy this week. And we hope there's all kinds of audio content, web content for you to enjoy as we head into the season. Thanks for listening. We will see you next week.